What shall I do today? I know. I'm going to turn a statue into a living person in Adobe Photoshop. It's Michael the Angel by Michelangelo. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the statue, going to make it look like he is alive, a real living person. Right, so first things first, before we start, I'm going to clean him up. I'm going to get rid of any marks and blemishes and imperfections in the stonework, ready for applying skin type coloration on this. So let's get to that. I think I might use, in this particular case, the spot healing brush tool just to get rid of these dark blemishes. Now I could create a new layer and using sample all layers, fix things like that so that all of the fixes are on a separate layer. But in this particular tutorial, I think I'm going to keep it really simple and just work on a single layer for now. So again, neutralizing any imperfections in the stone, that's the first step. So get the skin as smooth looking as possible. I think that'll do for now. He certainly looks a lot better. Any sort of marble marks in there, get rid of those. Any pits, get rid of those also. Okay, I think that's good to go. So his skin is nice and smooth. So that's the first step. Make sure you get rid of any blemishes, marks, indentations, anything like that which is going on in the stonework which doesn't appear to be like skin. So now that we've done that, let's duplicate this layer with a Control J or Command J if you're using a Mac, so that we have this layer here. And we're going to use my new best friend. So filter neural filters and go to Colorize. Enable that. Don't really need to change any of these settings, keep them as they are. And click on OK. As you can see, oh my, oh my, oh my, what do we have to say about this? It's not perfect, but no problem. As you've probably seen in previous tutorials, I have managed to find a technique for normalizing the imperfections caused by the colorization neural filter, which we're going to look at now. Without further ado, I'm going to zoom in. The Colorize neural filter has done a rather good job of this, but it has missed areas. I think that rinse in his hair is kind of leaking a little bit, so let's sort that first. I like to use the color replacement tool, which can be found just here under the brush tool. I'm going to sample with the Alt key pressed down a color which I'd like to replace this perhaps. So just sampling there, I'm going to paint over to here. Not quite right, no problem at all. Let's try another color. Let's try perhaps this here, no, maybe this. I can dab various bits in there just to kind of get this as I want it. It's improving. We're getting somewhere with this. And with the eyes, I'll go for something perhaps very light, maybe quite neutral, just to push that saturation out. Okay, that's a little too crazy. This is going to have to be lightened up anyway, so let's not worry too much about the eyes. Ears. Yeah, that's looking good. I actually like the fact his nose is a bit red and blotchy. Lips are completely out though. Just try it out. If it goes wrong, Control Z. Push yourself back a stage. Yeah, that's totally wrong, so maybe something to that effect. What do you think? It's starting to look human now anyway. He's actually an angel, but hey. Because this is such a large area, rather than just using the dot and dab method with the color replacement tool, I'm going to go to my layers palette and I'm going to colorize that entire portion. And I'll do this like this. I'm going to click on the adjustment layer icon at the bottom of the layer stack and choose, let's see now, what should we go for? I think I might go for color balance. I haven't used that one for a while. And a little bit towards the yellow and a little bit towards the red. Maybe the magenta a little. So I've got something like this. Okay? And then I'm going to invert my mask to black, so it pushes it to hidden. And then with the normal paintbrush, with white as my color, and at an opacity of, let's go for 50%, just painting to bring those hues in. That's not bad, it's getting somewhere anyway. Maybe it could do with darkening a little on there. So again, adjustment layer, I'm going to go for curves, bringing down the white point a little, not a lot, something like that. Again, inverting my mask, and with white as my paintbrush, paint that darker. And you know, if I drag this curves underneath the colour balance, those darker areas should adopt some of that new colour, in theory. There, let's have a look at that switched off and then switched on again. Looks far, far better. Good. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. That's starting to look realistic. Maybe I could jump back to here using the spot heal tool. There's a bit of a line here. Maybe I could blend that in a little. Good. You know, when I was choosing this statue image, I had to be very careful. There were lots of pictures of statues of women, and they weren't dressed. So this is a family show. Yeah, so I had to go with Michael the Angel. Right, back on my colorized layer, going back to the color replacement tool, I'm just going to choose a pink here. Rather sensitive issue, but hey ho, no, that's not right. Let's go for something a little less pink. I don't know, look a bit orange, don't they? You know, I could even go to my colour palette here and maybe push this a little toward maybe the magenta. Too magenta-y now. Maybe not quite as colourful. Yeah, something like that. And this one here. Oh, I'm not an expert on nipple colour. Let's try that. Yeah, that'll do. His nipples are officially coloured. Never mind, never mind. Let's just go with that for the time being. This cloth needs saturation taken out. So I think what I'll do is call up another adjustment layer, hue and saturation this time. Knock the saturation right down. Not all the way, that looks artificial. Just maybe to the -50 or something to that effect. Invert. White as my brush colour. Don't forget to swap back to brush. And paint out the cloth. I'm assuming it's a cloth, I don't really know what that is. Don't forget, white paints out, it hides the pixels, it masks them, and black brings them back again should you need them. Aha, like so. That's starting to look better. Now, his face. Okay, it's his eyes that are the big problem at the moment. They just don't look natural. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for an image of a pair of eyes which are looking the same way, and I'm going to steal bits of them to use on this statue. So bear with me. Okay, eyes are eyes. Now, I'm going to take this woman's eyes and place them on Michael's eyes. She's got contact lenses in. Something going on there. Anyway, I'm going to use these. Right, so using this is going to be really quick and easy. I'm going to use the polygonal lasso. Use whatever method you prefer, just to select around her eyes, like so. Go into add to selection mode up here, and select the other one, like so. copy, Control C, go back to my Michael the Angel, and Control V to paste. There they go. Oh, right. Now, how's this going to look? Haven't tried this out yet. It may be a complete failure. Never mind. I'll bring down the opacity, I think, on this layer so I can see what I'm doing. And Control T to go into free transform. Maybe if I placed that pupil over here, roughly where his eye is there. And then the pivot point in the center, I'm going to place that in the center of the eye. And now I can rotate the transform and maybe scale up a little bit until they sit like that. Do you know, I've got a good feeling about this. I think this might work. You can use your cursor keys just to finely adjust the positioning. There we are. I'll push the opacity back out to 100%. Okay, that just looks weird, doesn't it? But never mind, never mind. I'll label this layer eyes and add a layer mask. I love layer masks. Now, brush on black. Bring down the size of the brush a little, put the opacity to 100%, and paint away as much as you can. Or if you want, you could always invert your mask so everything's hidden. I'll just hide that again. And then paint in with white the eye area. Okay, the shape of the eye is a little different. That's okay, you can work with this. And the same over here. I'm going to go right to the edge of the eyelid there. And here, going over to the actual thumb itself, I'll use the brush, I think. And this is brush on opacity. This is a method I've always used. I've always been quite keen on painting detail in. Like that. Be subtle. Bring the opacity of your brush down. Make sure that you slowly build up those areas. I'm going to push the opacity down to 20% now. Just blend that in a little. Maybe give it a bit more of a highlight there. And I'll do the same over here. Oops, a bit too much there, that's okay. It ain't right. Look at the state of that. Yeah, Michelangelo, very talented man, but those eyes. We'll deal with that later, okay? We're going to correct Michelangelo's errors. It's starting to look real though, you know? Okay. Let's just go with it. Let's roll with it, okay? Now, hair. That hair's just not going to do it. That hair is not going to do it. First of all, let's get the colour out of it, because it's just looking like a purple rinse, you know? Like an old lady from the 1980s. Let's just get the colour out. Quickest way of doing that, again, adjustment layer, hue and saturation. Knock all the saturation out. Knock all of it out in this particular case. Okay, add a tiny bit in, but not much. Just a pinch, a real small pinch. Invert. Go to brush. Put your brush at 100%, white as your colour, and then paint out that rinse at 100% opacity. Take it all out because it just looks totally wrong at the moment. What will it be today, sir? Purple rinse? At least we've leveled the playing field. Okay, now time to go and look for some hair. So I scoured the internet, Pixabay, and I found this image here of this gentleman. Took a very long time to find anyone with a mighty head of hair like this guy. So, decided to go for this. Now I'm going to bring his hair and replace it onto here. It's not going to be perfect, but we'll go for it. It's going to be quite rough. Again, use whichever method you want to select. I'm going to use, in this particular case, this tool here, which is going to select the object using AI, and I've gone for rectangle mode, and if I just jump to quick mask with a Q, you can see how well it has selected all of that. Okay, I'm going to copy that and drop this into my image here. I think I'll push that to the top of the stack. Okay, Control T to go to free transform, and I'll roughly place this where it needs to go. Maybe bring the opacity down a little so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I reckon that will do for now. I'm going to add a layer mask to this, and with black as my painting colour, just paint out any parts of this guy's face which I don't want in the shot. So that does look okay. It's not quite there yet, but that's alright. That will do for now. Push the opacity back to 100%. I'll switch this off and on again so you can see how the hairline should look. I think I'll paint a little more of this out until we can see the original hairline. And flip my colours back and paint these in like thus. Good, but as I paint, bits of his original face come back in, so it's not ideal. So I think I'll disconnect the mask from the actual image by just clicking on that union point in the middle, that link. Now, going back to my image, going to the thumbnail, Control T, I'm going to transform this using this button up here, which is the free transform, the warp modes tool. And if I click on this split here and just click and warp this into place, I can add another split if I wish, perhaps one here. Now back to the mask, and brush and black and paint out. I'll look for the edge of his hair now. So there it is. Good, so that is what I'm aiming for. So now I can flip my colours and push that a little closer to the edge maybe. Going back to my thumbnail, I'm going to be inventive now, I think. Should we do? Let's try smudge. I'm not sure this is going to work, but yeah, it doesn't really work. How about a very small smudge? Let's see. Okay, it's approximate, because what I'm going to do is reduce the opacity of this anyway. So it's kind of half and half. I don't even know. I don't know how that looks. Oh my. I'll leave that to your artistic interpretation. Oh my. Okay. I don't know. Crude, bit of colour balance maybe. Control B. Non-destructive method. It's okay, I suppose. Maybe I could play around with some of the blending modes just to see if any of those would achieve a better result. Maybe overlay. It's kind of coming back to life a little bit. Still not very happy with some of the colours in his skin here. So going to colour replacement. I think I might knock some of those purples out a little. Eyebrows. Eyebrows. How shall I do that? Maybe hue and saturation at a lower opacity with the paintbrush. At a lower opacity, maybe dab those out with a bit of white. I reckon this will do for now. Now what I'm about to do, watch very carefully, okay? This is stepping back from being non-destructive with layers, but it's okay. In this particular scenario, I'm going to select all of my layers, I'm going to drop them into a group, like thus. I'm going to duplicate that group with a Control J, and then right click on the duplicated group and choose Merge Group. So it's effectively flattened all of this information. It's just going to make it so much easier to work with, I think. And now I can instantly go to things like Color Replacement Tool and just do a bit of dabbing, a bit of cleaning, like this. Just to get rid of any of the bits which look a little dodgy. I can go to the hair. Perhaps there are areas where it just looks a little bit weird. Bring in my brush size down on my smudge tool. Perhaps just add a few stray hairs. Something I like to do. I like to use the smudge tool when it comes to hairs. Trying to follow the creases. Sorry, not the. Trying to follow the curves. Trying to follow the curls at the moment. So I could use the smudge tool for that. It's very effective. I feel the problem here is that his forehead has too much saturation. So I'm going to call up a hue and saturation adjustment layer and just push the saturation down a little and then invert, brush, you know the drill. Right, finishing touches now. So just to recap, we have removed all the blemishes from the skin, we have colorized using the neural filters, we've added a bit of hair, his eyes. We're now going to look at some of the skin texturing now. Now I think I might visit this picture of the girl again, just to nick some of the detail off her lips. Again using the, let's go for the polygonal lasso tool, going to, oops, let's just reset that, otherwise I'll be bringing her eyes over as well. If I just select around her mouth here, copy it, and paste it in. I'll paste it just here. And position it like this. Maybe bringing down the opacity just to get the right positioning. You see the shape of the mouth is very different, but that's not a problem. Let's go with that for now, and then maybe call up Control T, call up Control T, call up Free Transform again, Control T, and going into warp modes. I think I might just set a few points here. Maybe bring these two down like thus. Let's see now what's going on there. I think that'll do. Right. Layer mask. Brush. Black as the painting colour. Kind of looks a little bit like a painting, but I think generally speaking, I think it has worked. Yeah, I mean when you think how it looked originally to what we have now, we have a good approximation on how this guy would look. I think I might link those together and just merge them just to keep it really simple. And let's fix the issue with his eyes now. So, filter. I'm going to go for Liquify. And zooming in, let's see now, eye size. This is really useful. If you have a human face in the shot, you can use the face aware Liquify. Let's see, this is his left eye and his right eye. Oh, the eye on the left and the eye on the right. His right, left, you get the idea. Let's try and change the eye size. Positioning's a bit weird though, isn't it? Actually, eye tilt seems to do a little more. How about the eye on the right now? Yeah, maybe. What's the real problem there? Maybe even the old-fashioned method, using the forward warp tool. I always forget what these tools are called. Something to this effect, just being very subtle with it. Or maybe even the pucker tool, just here, just to shrink this bit down. The secret of using the Liquify feature is be subtle, don't overdo it. Do everything in small stages. I think maybe I'll increase the size of that eye now. I've maybe made this eye on the left a little too small. I think maybe increase the eye size a little. I think the eye on the left is now too small. So back to Liquify. Or maybe I could just reduce the size of the eye on the right. Let's give that a go. So eye size. Because his eyes were unnaturally large. Yeah. Maybe slightly reposition it. Perspective seems a little out. To that effect, maybe. Yeah, that's better. I can't tell, maybe his eyes are too small now. I'm going to bring both of them up at the same time. At least now they're matched on scale. So I'm going to lock these two together. And maybe the width as well. Yes, that'll do, that'll do. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. What do you think? Now I think the really powerful element in all of this is the colorization. Colorize does such an amazing job at just bringing the colours in which we wouldn't think about mixing ourselves. There are certain hues, and there's yellows, there's pinks, there's purples, and yeah, it does such an amazing job. So that has made this whole project so much easier than it would have been if I was mixing them by hand. What do you think? Do you think I've achieved something here? How about you let me know in the comments section below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and if you've already subscribed, hit the notification bell for more videos like this. And I'd love to have a natter with you in the comments section. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.